Hello, everyone. Coming to you live from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. 30 centimeters of snow fell last night, and we're currently at minus 25 degrees with the wind chill factor. It's cool outside. Today's message is, are you authentic? Let me begin by reading two applicable verses. Colossians 3:16. Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your hearts. Proverbs 19:20. Listen to advice and accept discipline. At the end, you will be counted among the wise. A man named Tom was standing at a crossroads in a dense forest. He is visibly lost and looking for direction. Have you ever been in that place? A friend approaches Tom and confidently says, I know the way. Follow the path to the right, and it will lead you back to the village. Tom, desperate for guidance, considers these words, but before deciding, he asks a simple question. Have you been down that path before? The friend hesitates and says, well, no, but I've heard this is the way. Now, imagine another scenario. Tom is still very much lost in the same dense forest. But this time, when the friend approaches Tom, he says, I have been to the village. I took the path to the left, faced its challenges, enjoyed the beautiful sights, and reached the village safely. If you'd like, I can guide you through it. In both scenarios, Tom receives advice, but in the second, the advice is steeped in genuine experience, offering an assurance that inherently carries more trust. Giving advice, solutions, and life hacks is tempting without first examining whether we've truly incorporated these lessons into our lives. While our intentions might be pure, the impact of unlived advice can be shallow or even misleading. For advice to be genuinely transformative, it must first be internalized and reflected in our actions and decisions. As believers, we must echo God's direction in our life to ensure that our guidance and actions glorify God alone. Before we give spiritual guidance or wisdom, we must ask ourselves, am I living out this truth? Do I genuinely understand its depth and implications? Relying on God's grace, which transforms our hearts and minds, we acknowledge our dependence on Him to guide us in giving and living out wise counsel. As James 1:22 reminds us, but be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Our church community seeks wisdom and accountability from fellow believers, ensuring that our guidance is biblically sound and rooted in genuine experience. Remember, knowing the way is not enough. We must walk the talk, empowered by God's grace and the work of the Holy Spirit in our lives. Only then can our guidance be genuinely profitable for others, directing them toward God's path with integrity and sincerity. Here are some action questions, and I will answer the first set and then give you the set again so you can answer it yourself. Number 1, reflect on a time you advised without truly living it out. What was the result? Well, as a facilitator and even as a chaplain for a while, I was teaching a lot. And I was teaching a lot about my story, my narrative of my past, my trauma, and my pain. I was bringing that up time and time and time again. And you know what? I burnt out. There was just too much of the dark stuff. Now I'm learning to recognize the signs when I'm on the way down. I'm also learning to recognize the signs when I'm on the way up, when what I'm doing is truly helping, bringing joy, transformation, and peace into my life. I've learned to say no, but I've also learned to say yes. Number 2, what piece of advice do you frequently share with others? Are you consistently living by it? Well, I say to people, allow creative streams to flow without judgment. I haven't known that for very long, but I do live that out. I can already, sometimes I can sense when it's time to stop working, pick up a pencil or pick up a paintbrush and just play, pick up the guitar, just sing. How can you ensure that authentic actions and experiences back your words? It's number 3. I like to get feedback from spiritual friends, from directors, or my advisors. Number 4, think of a time someone gave you advice that they lived by. How did it impact you? Well, that person modeled an authentic way of life. I could see the truth in what they were telling me and how they were living it out. They matched. And I received that advice. Now, how about you? Let me read the questions again, and then please put your responses in the comments below. I'd love to read what you have to say. Number 1, reflect on a time you advised without truly living it out. What was the result? What piece of advice, number 2, do you frequently share with others? Are you consistently living by it? Number 3, how can you ensure that authentic actions and experiences back your words? Number 4, think of a time someone gave you advice that they lived by. How did it impact you? This theme, Are You Authentic, came from an app called thesermonkit.com. Thank you very much for listening, and many blessings.